Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. So we have our new battle scroll for Daleks. It's looking pretty good, all things considered. So I just wanted to go over just briefly what this all means and just my opinion on it. Some of the stuff, honestly, a lot of it is looking pretty good. I have no real complaints about this. Sorry, I just had to turn the fan off there. So basically, so just to start off with here, I think that this is definitely one of the better battle scrolls we've gotten in recent times. A lot of this really feels like they took a lot of feedback from players in general, like actually looking at like you could say tournament results and just applying some common sense to stuff. So just to take a look at it. So first thing is, it looks like the Thunderbolt volley command ability has been nerfed somewhat. So basically, it just means that it doesn't work if the unit that it's being sent to is been reinforced. So I think that's okay. Now, some people have pointed out that this doesn't really seem fair, as in that Stormcast Eternals had this hero command, hero phase shooting shutdown, while other armies such as Daughters of Cain have it. I only half agree with that. Well, mostly because, for example, at least with Daughters of, at least with Stormcast Eternals, you don't require like a 600-point god creature to pull that off. So, to be perfectly honest, I think this was definitely more points efficient, and Stormcast Eternals are doing pretty good overall. So I can understand putting them back. But the bigger one I'm noticing here is Stormdrake Guard apparently had their Draconic Onslaught change. And honestly, I saw this coming a mile away. People have been complaining about that from day one, saying it's way too overpowered. Like, if you bring like an army of like 6 or 7 dragons, you could just like move up the board turn one and just slaughter an army before they even get to do anything. And while it isn't quite to that extent, it's bad enough that I assume they were going to deal with it sooner or later. So now it's just basically a once per game reroll charges, which is fine in and of itself. And for those worrying, trust me, Stormdrake Guard for the most part are going to be just fine. They're still easily one of the best units in the Stormcast book. They're going to be fine in the long term. Age of Sigmar finally had their strike and melt away battle trait change. Now after you shoot, you have to, when you move, it can't be closer than 9 to an enemy unit. So basically, we're basically applying the common sense to this. The whole idea was is you shoot, then you move away. But people were just basically shooting and moving closer, which was honestly very efficient when you could outflank your opponent. So while it's a shame, because I found it was a really nice ability that really helped out Living City, I'm not really surprised they got rid of it. It obviously was not there. People were using it not the way it was meant to be. So that is what it is. Seraphon one, I'm a little bit surprised by. I thought they'd just do away with Scaly Skin, especially in the new edition, because in general, units in monsters, big infantry, everything's gotten tougher with all the different save stacking. So I'm a little surprised they didn't just do away with Scaly Skin, the whole -1 damage. I thought maybe they would just, I don't know, change it up completely. But what they've done basically is they've reduced the amount of units it can apply to. Now it only applies to Saurus, Kroxigor, and monsters. So now you can't just take like a giant squad of skinks and now they're -1 to damage them, which, to be fair, that makes more sense. Like, I never really understood why a skink would be -1 damage. Like, if anything, they should be easier to kill. So anyway, so for Grand Alliance Chaos, big changes here too. So inevitable, looks like Bellacourse in his sub-faction got nerfed, and pretty hard too. Now he's only at 1 to hit and wound for attacks made by Bellacour, while he's within 18 at least 1 friendly unit from each of the following war scrolls: Bloodletters, Horrors of Tzeentch, Plague Bearers, Demonettes. So essentially, that got nerfed pretty hard. Now, I'm not saying that that Legion of the First Prince got completely destroyed, but it definitely has made Bellacour not quite as overwhelmingly powerful in it as he was before. Now, he is still very, very good, don't get me wrong, but you got to remember, when Bellacour in this before was he was unstoppable almost. Like, people would basically just ignore him and just do everything else. Like, don't even bother to take him out. So this basically just makes Bellacour a little more doable in terms of, of like defeating in a single battle. Heathen Knights of Slaanesh. So okay, so a little bit of thing here. What they got were some major points reductions for some key units. Now, technically, these are the same points reductions that were in the General's Handbook. This just basically makes it just, well, yeah, actually, yeah, it was. But basically, this just makes it a little more noticeable. So on top of this, a little bit surprising too, Heathen Knights of Slaanesh have gotten these 4-point changes. And just to clarify, from the General's Handbook, pretty much almost everything in the Heathen Knights of Slaanesh book got a points drop, but these were the most dramatic. Like especially the Twin Souls and the Painbringers, they got down by like 20 points apiece. Like it's a lot. But they didn't actually. But people were expecting that their summoning was going to get nerfed to compensate for the massive point drops, like across their entire book, and it didn't. So personally, I think this is a good thing because one thing it said in the main article of this, that the whole idea was to bring all the armies up to like the healthy 45 to 55% win rate, which, by the way, I'm about 90% sure they cribbed that from the Honest Wargamer. So just putting that out there. But the truth is, like, but if you actually, again, if you also been looking at the Honest Wargamer and his analytics, like these Heathen Knights were sitting at like something like a 34-35% win rate. So truth be told, they needed more than just a points drop to be competitive. So I'm glad they didn't nerf their summoning, because the truth is, like, even though I think this is good, I don't think this is going to still bring them up all that much in the grand scheme of things, because there's a lot of problems with that book that go beyond points. Like one of the bigger things being is just they just don't have a ton of hitting power, and that's only been amplified in the new edition. Like perfect example, like Silver Ash Twin Souls, like they got a very big points reduction, but the truth is they needed it because especially because in the current, like they're supposed to be like, I don't know what they're even supposed to be half the time. Like besides maybe like Sigvald, the Keeper of Secrets, and Glutos, the Heathen Knights just don't have any hammer units. And on top of that, they don't even really have a lot of anvil units either. Sure, I know a lot of people were going to say the Painbringers or the Twin Souls, sure. But comparatively speaking, especially before, they were just too expensive to get enough in mass. So maybe now you can put enough more on the table, and maybe they can up the anvil factor. But like I said, I honestly think there's nothing they can really do to Heathen Knights besides a full book redo. I think they might be beyond saving at this point, at least the way they are. Blades of Corn, really nice. Finally got rid of that stupid thing that every time they summon something or they use an ability, they lost all their blood tie points. I honestly thought that should have been gone long ago. Like that was like a holdover from earlier editions where summoning was just so OP. Like now it's just honestly they need their summoning just to be competitive in any capacity now. So and then basically just getting a handicap where they lose everything if they summon like a single like one bloodhound. So yeah, I'm just glad they finally got rid of that. Nothing much else to say. Death, nothing too crazy. Fleshier Courts now have a 6+ regardless of where they are, so they don't have to hug a hero so much. So that's pretty good. And Oziark Bone Reapers, now they can get the Necropolis Stalkers and the Immortus Guard. They can be battle line just if your general is a Mortison. So that's pretty good. It would definitely add some more flavor. Won't have to be so reliant on just bringing their main battle line. Again, nothing too crazy. Like this isn't gonna make Oziark Bone Reapers really any better in my opinion, but it's just gonna add some more options, which is always good. And to cut it all off, the big thing of the book, the Destruction Grant Lines. So, Auric War Clans, really big stuff here. So, first thing, now to be fair, keen-eyed observers will probably notice this was already revealed in the General's Handbook. But now, for every Gut Rippers unit you can also take a Hobgrot Slit as unit as a battle line as well. Honestly, I think they should have been battle line from the start. So this is just good because honestly, it just made it so that a lot of times Hobgrots just didn't really have a ton of place because you couldn't bring them as battle lines, so you had to bring a certain number of like Gut Rippers. But if you're bringing that many Gut Rippers, why even bother with them? I always found like just bring more of them. So now that they can be battle line, I think there's more of a place for them. And also Grinning Blades, really nice little upgrade there. Now they're just not visible to enemy units that are more than 12 inches, period. So this is really going to help them because I got the Grinning Blades in general, I think were, in my opinion, definitely the weakest of the three main Cruel Boy sub-factions. Like people just bring like Yellers and those Bog one, I forget the name. Like those, like this one was like Grinning Blades before was easily the worst. I think this definitely much better. And bone splitters. Oh, bone splitters. You now they now get they now every 6 to hit now causes 2 hits regardless of the size of the unit. That is really good. Now that you could have just min squads of bone splitters and they always get that ability. That is really good because a lot of people seem to always like to go down on bone splitters a lot, but truth be told, I actually think they're probably the second, like they might even be the second or third most competitive build in the War Clans book. Honestly, they're definitely, in my opinion, they're definitely more competitive than Cruel Boys. Like they got they got lots of speed. They could actually have pretty good armor pen. They have pretty good wound density, and and with this helping out their attack output, this I think bone splitters are actually a secret heroes of this book that people are going to be surprised by. So Gloomspite gets looks like GW finally are throwing them at least some amount of love here. So one thing, frothing zealots have changed. Now it's not a re-rolling 1. Now it's simply if they're in the light of the bad moon, they can rally on a 4+ instead of 6. Really good in my opinion. Moon Clan especially, we're hurting this edition with the loss of mass inspiring presence. So this is really going to help them stay around longer because Gloomspite in general are really bad right now in terms of durability. They need, and so anything that keeps you on the board longer is good. So thumbs up to this, really good one. Next one, Moonlit High. So now this is a little different. So basically, now Troggoths, while they're in the light of the bad moon, don't get to re-roll their regeneration or re-roll the result if they get it the first time. Now they just add +1 to saves. So I can understand some people being a little on the fence on this one, but I think this is definitely better because beforehand the problem was it was just a help to regeneration, and the big problem with that is the model had to be alive for that to work. Like you couldn't bring back models. So what often was happening is that people were just killing off whole Troggoths right off of the units, and they never got a chance to regenerate. And then the ones that were left, they only had like 1 or 2 wounds. I'm sure they regenerate. That's not going to stop them from dying. Like it's honestly, it's bet they could get, and remember, they can regenerate no matter what, whether or not they're in the bad mood. So it's better to keep models on the table rather than just buffing regeneration. That's useless if they get wiped anyway. So I think this is much better. And also, this I think might be the best one, I think. So basically what it is, it's an update to the Bad Moon Moonshine. They have a new ability. Now all Gloomspite gets units within 12 inches of the terrain piece always count as being under the light of the Bad Moon. This is pretty good because now you at least have some more control over what units can be under the Bad Moon and when. So, for example, this could really be good for, let's say, definitely like Moon Clan, because now if they're hurting, they could try to run back into range of the Moon Shrine and rally back up on a 4+. Or if you're doing your Troggoths or fighting in range of it, they get a +1 to their save. So that can really help their durability. It's only at 12 inches. It's not going to be game breaking, but heck, at this point right here, Gloomspite, with where they are in the meta overall, any little bit helps. So I'll accept this as is. So one thing also to note is apparently this officially replaces the hunt from the last Battlescroll. So where certain units kill other certain units, you get extra victory points. That's just gone. This has been replaced by all this. So I'm a little mixed on that because I actually did like the mechanic and I thought it really did help certain underperforming armies. But now that we're in Gatlet, things have changed. We're no longer all about the monster meta as much. We're now about Galatian veterans, and we're all about new war. There's new battle packs that can and new battle scenarios that really could change up the way things work. So I understand them getting rid of it, but overall, I'm really good with this. This is good overall. So yeah. So anyway, so I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy the updates. Personally, I think they're pretty good. So yeah. So good. Anyways, good. Thanks for stopping by, everyone, and have a great day.